Good day everyone, and to our Professor Dr. Maria Agnes P. Ladja. I am Angelica FIDER, and today I am going to discuss about internal validity that is under quantitative approach in rigors in research. Now let's talk about internal validity. What is internal validity? This is the extent to which a study establishes a trustworthy cause and effect relationship between a treatment and an outcome. Internal validity also reflects that a given study makes it possible to eliminate alternative explanations for a finding. For instance, if you implement a smoking cessation program with a group of individuals, how sure can you be that any improvement seen in the treatment group is due to the treatment that you administered, right? So, internal validity is not a yes or no type of concept. Instead, we consider how confident we can be with the findings of a study based on whether it avoids traps that may make the finding questionable. Because the less chance there is for confounding in a study, the higher the internal validity and the more confident we can be in the findings. Confounding refers to a situation in which other factors come into play that confuses the outcome of a study. For instance, a study might make us unsure as to whether we can trust that we have identified the above cause and effect scenario. For short, you can only be confident that your study is internally valid if you can rule out alternative explanations for your findings. And according to Hafner in 2017, that a study is internally valid if it is able to determine whether a causal relationship exists between one or more independent variables and one or more dependent variables. And according to Shuttleworth in 2008, that a study is internally valid if there are as little confounding variables as possible. Confounding variables are variables that the researcher fails to control or eliminate, allowing the results to show false correlation. Campbell and Stanley's in 1966 seminal work on experimental and quasi-experimental designs identifies and describes 8 threats to internal validity. And these are history, maturation, instrumentation, testing, statistical regression, selection, experimental mortality, and selection interactions. First is history. Studies that collect data over long time periods are likely to be affected by research subjects' unique experiences over time that function like extra and unplanned, therefore independent variables. Historical events may influence the outcome of studies that occur over a period of time, such as a change in the political leader or natural disaster that influences how study participants feel and act. Second, maturation. This effect also draws on the normal passage of time. Research subjects may become more or less motivated and thus affecting the internal validity of the study. This describes the impact of time as a variable in a study. If a study takes place over a period of time in which it is possible that participants naturally changed in some way or grew older, became tired, something like that, then it may be impossible to rule out whether effects seen in the study were simply due to the effect of time. Third is testing. Research design often use pre-tests. These may change, that is, contaminate the outcome of the actual study. Repeatedly testing participants using the test or using the same measures influences outcomes. Because if you give someone the same test 3 times, isn't it likely isn't it likely that they will do better as they learn the test or become used to the testing process so that they answer differently, right? Fourth, instrumentation. For instrumentation, changing measurement methods or their administration may affect what is measured. It's possible to prime participants in a study in certain ways with the measures that you use. which causes them to react in a way that is different than they would have otherwise. Statistical regression. Retesting research subjects that were originally chosen because of extremely high or low scores can be expected to produce a distribution closer to the entire population's distribution. The natural effect of participants at extreme ends of a measure falling in a certain direction just due to the passage of time rather than the effect of an intervention. Sixth, selection. The results of the study will be biased if the research subjects in the control and experimental groups are different from another at the beginning of the study. Seventh, experimental mortality. If the comparison groups experience different or high levels of withdrawal of research subjects, it becomes questionable whether the observed differences between the groups are due to different or high dropout rates or are produced by the independent variable. 8. Selection interactions. Here, if the selection method of research subjects interacts with one or more of the above threats, the study's results will be biased. The participants selected into treatment groups have different maturation rates. Selection interactions also occur with history and instrumentation. And I think that's all for my report. Thank you for listening, and here are my resources, and have a great day.